Okay, so today we're playing the pickup and delivery game with the ugliest alien from my youth, E.T., light years from home. Set up E.T., we're going to place the board within easy reach of everybody. We're going to take E.T. here, make sure the number in his heart there is 6. Place that off to the side of the board where everybody can see it. Next we're going to take these double-sided item tokens, flip them so they're face down and give them a shuffle. And we're going to place one item token in each of the zones on the board with the exception of the zones with the dice symbol on them. And take note that Elliot's home and these two zones are actually split up into 2 separate zones, and we're going to place one tile in each of those 2 separate zones. Next we're going to take the 3 police cars here labeled A, B, and C, and we are going to place them on the corresponding space on the board. Next we're going to take the agent standees here, and we are going to place them here by the field on this symbol with the shield and the siren on there. All 5 of them. Okay, next make a pull of dice near E.T. here, which includes the phone home dice and also the danger and the enemy dice. Okay, I like to put the phone home dice on the board in the spots. You could do whatever you want. It's your game. Who am I to tell you what to do? This is how I'm going to do it. Okay, next take the ET power cards, give them a shuffle. Place pile off to the side of the board and flip over the first 3 next to the draw pile so that they are face up and players can see them. Now we're going to take the mothership and place it here on the start of the mothership track. Take 3 candy, and it doesn't matter what color they are, they all represent one thing. But take 3 of the candy tokens and place them off to the side of the board near the ET counter, placing the other 3 out of play for now, but in a supply that you will dip into later on. Next, each player will choose a character and take the character card and the character figurines here, the kid figurines, and we are going to place them at Elliot's house here, where the Elliot with the ET in the basket symbol is. We are also going to take the ugly little guy, place him there. Next, players want to choose the level of difficulty. For easy mode, they want to choose 3 items to complete a device. For normal, they would choose 4 items to complete a device. And for hard, they would choose 5 items to complete a device. You would choose the level of difficulty as a group, and then you would choose the first player. The rulebook says whoever rode a bicycle last is. You could choose however you want. And that is how you set up E.T., the extraterrestrial light years from home, which will just be called E.T. from here on out. Stay tuned for the rules. Okay, today we're going to play the pickup and deliver game of E.T. Alright, the object of E.T. is to get the mothership and E.T. to a space in the forest as for the mothership, and a space adjacent to the forest with E.T. If we do both of these, we have E.T. and an adjacent space to the mothership inside the forest space, we win the game. If E.T. ever runs down to 0 on health, we lose the game. If the 3 police car ever surround the field, the park, we lose the game. The game will be played in 3 phases, starting with the first player. On their turn, they have 3 phases to do. They could choose to do 3 basic actions. They could do 3 of these up to 3 times. Okay, so there's 3 basic actions. They could do 1 action up to 3 times, or they could do 3 actions 1 time each. Then there's a bunch of free actions we could do. Alright, they do not count as an action point, so to say. After that, we will roll to see if we can move the mothership down on the mothership track, if eligible. Okay, there has to be some dice in there. We'll get in that. And the final round phase is to roll these enemy dice, which will move enemy closer to us. Alright, so like I said, first we have 3 actions that we can do. Basic actions are called. And we get 1 action point for each action that we can use. Okay, so we could use up to 3 action points for these actions. the basic actions. All right, this will get a little confusing with basic and free actions. Free actions are free. Basic actions cause an action point. Okay, the first action is we can move. If we look at the board, we can see there are spots around the zones. These spots are what we will move to. Moving to one spot equals one movement point. When we move, we can move up to 2 spots. We don't have to, but we can. We can move one spot or no spots. It's up to us. We cannot move from one space to another space across a zone unless we are on a street or these red lines with the arrows called shortcuts. They're called shortcuts. Drew a blank on that. Okay, so we can move either to a space or across a shortcut. Moving across a shortcut costs 1 movement point. I'll show you some free actions later, but one of them is teaming up, which means we would hook up with another player. And in that case, we would be able to take that player along with us, as long as we have that player's permission to do so. Okay, so that's part of movement. ET is another free action. He can move with us. Okay, anytime we are to move across or stop in a spot with either a police car or an agent, we will have to roll this danger die. We'll be rolling this danger die for a lot. In the game, we'll see a little later on, there are these ramps. They will give us a boost. It will give us an additional space movement when we use them. Alright, so say we were here and we want to use it. We have to go in a straight line when we do use it. Alright, so we would go 1 and then hit the ramp. And then we could choose direction. We can't go diagonal, but we could go in a straight line. So we would go 1, 2, and end up here. If we were to jump over any agents or cops, we would roll the danger die. There are 2 of these ramps in the game. Okay, now if we were to use one ramp and jump off it and then land on another ramp, we could jump off of that one. Again, going in a straight line. So that is basically all the movement. I believe I got it all. Alright, next is picking up a item or a device. Alright, now if we look at the item tiles here, we can see there are 5 tiles in each color of yellow, green, and blue. Okay, and then there are 4 of these wild cards, and like I said, 2 of these ramps. When a player is to pick up a token in a space that is adjacent to them, okay, which means in the zone that is adjacent to the spot they are in case of these double wide spots, the closest 4, including the one you're on, would be that be considered adjacent. So these 4 would be considered adjacent, whereas these 2 would not be considered adjacent. Okay, so if I were here, I could not pick up this tile, but I could pick up this tile. If I were here, I could go either way. It doesn't matter. I could pick up this one or this one. All right, but if we were to choose to pick up a tile, we would do so and place it in our inventory. As you can see on our player boards, we have 2 empty spots. Okay, if one or both of them spots are empty, we simply place it in the empty spot. However, if our inventory is full, we would have to choose one of these tiles, placing it in the spot that we are in, and then place the item we just picked up in our inventory. Okay, now if there is a policeman or an agent adjacent to the region that you're in, the zone that you are in, you have to roll the danger die and then do what it says. I'll get into that in a little bit. Later on, we'll be able to build a device, which is a free action. I'll get into that in a second. But once these devices are created, we can then pick up the device and place it in our basket. Now, it works the same if there is a police car or an agent in an adjacent spot to the zone that we are in. We would have to roll the danger die. And if you are picking up a device, you cannot have ET in your basket. It's one or the other, either ET or a device, not both. If you did have ET in your basket and you went to pick up a device, you would drop ET in the space you are. And vice versa. If you wanted to pick up ET instead of device, you would drop the device and pick up ET. Okay, and the final basic action is to take a candy token here. Okay, we would take the candy token from the supply that we had off to the side and place it in our general supply, which every player can use in order to move ET. We'll get in that a little bit later on. Okay, so it is one action for each candy token that you take. And like they are the basic actions. You can move, pick up an item or a device, or take a candy token. They all take one action point in order to do, and you can do up to 3 of them. Either all 3 or one of each, up to 3 times. Okay, that is the basic actions. Now we're going to get into the free actions. The first one is, if you are on the same spot as another player, you can team up with them, meaning you would connect your base to the other player's base, and that player will then be able to move with you, and you'll be able to use their abilities and whatnot. You must have the player's permission to do this. Okay, so we're going to hook up together, me and Gertie here. We're going to move 1, 2. We took ET with us. Anytime you end your turn on a space with another player, or ET, or an agent, or a policeman, anything other than by yourself, you roll the danger die. So that's one free action. We could team up, and like I said, we could use each other's player abilities here, which is another free action. I'll get into in a minute. We could swap tokens with each other. We could swap devices if we had them and we had room in our baskets. We could even swap ET if we wanted to. And another free action is to get away from another player, ungroup. Okay, so that's teaming up. Again, got to roll the danger die if you end your turn with anything other than yourself. Second action is to pick up or drop ET. Okay, so say Gertie was here, it's her turn. She's on the same spot as ET. She could pick up ET or drop ET, placing him in the spot that she's in. She's going to pick him up in this case. Alright, and then you would do your actions as normal. If you end your turn with ET, you got to roll the danger die. But if you do have ET, you can use one of these ET power cards. Okay, you would simply do what it says on the card and then discard the card. If these cards ever run out, you would shuffle this card pile, start a new draw pile. All right, and they vary from things from moving on the board to, not having to roll for the agents and stuff like that. Another free action is you can play a candy token to move ET 1 space per token that you discarded. So here, I would move ET 1 space. If I discarded 1 candy tile, I'd move them 2 spaces if I discarded 2 candy tiles, and these would go off to that supply off to the side, out of the general supply. Alright, Elliot's a little different. His special ability is if you discard 1 candy tile, you can move ET 3 spaces. Okay? Up to 3 spaces. Now each of the players have a special action that is also a free action they can do as long as they can. Elliot here needs a candy piece in order to do his action, but as long as you can fill the requirements, you could do the action for free. Another free action is to drop off tokens or devices. Okay, so say Greg's here. He had these 2 green tokens in his inventory. He drops them off at the place where he chooses to, in this case where the green device would be made. Alright, now say Greg did that and ET was in an adjacent spot to Greg, he would then be able to create the device, meaning you would discard the tiles that you use to build the device, and that depends on the difficulty you're playing. If you're playing a normal difficulty game, it's 4 tiles. If you're playing an easy game, it's 3 tiles. If you're playing a hard game, it's 5 tiles. But you would discard those, and then you would place the color die that corresponds to the device you made in the place that you did it. Alright, So remember, he's got to be in an adjacent spot with the tiles that for the device that you're creating in order to create the device. Eventually, you're going to get enough items to build a device. With the extra items of that color, you can drop them off at the park where the device is for free action, and then you can move the mothership down one space on the mothership track for each tile of the color that you have chosen to drop in the field. And then you would discard the tile from the game. Alright, so the blue player's up. He dropped this green tile, moved it down one space. If he had 2 green tiles, you move down 2 spaces. The device has to be made first. You can't have a color tile in the field and then make the device and then use that point thing. The device has to be made before you can drop additional tokens of the color in the field to get that scoring. Alright. If you were to drop a wild item, a wild colored item in the field, you would get 1 point for each of the dice in the field, and you would move the mothership down that many points. Okay, so here we have 2 dice and we drop the wild card, we move the mothership down 2 spaces. If we had 1, it'd be 1 space. If we had 3, it'd be 3 spaces. Once all that is done, you would move on to the phone home if you can. Alright, so if you do not have any dice here, you cannot do the phone home action. If you have created some devices and you have the dice here, you would roll the dice and see what the result is. If you get 1 or more of these phone symbols, you would move the mothership down this mothership track that many spaces. Okay, so in this case we have 1 symbol, we move 1 space. If we had 2 symbols, we move 2 spaces. Okay, now once the mothership gets to this spot here, you do not have to roll for the mothership to move because it's already here. Okay, so once the mothership has been called, you've tried the phone home, we go into the final stage, which is the rolling for the enemies. Okay, we would take these 2 dice and give them a roll and then do what it says on the dice. Okay, so this guy here is primarily concerned with keys and the police cars. As you can see, we have this symbol here for the siren, and it has a letter which corresponds to which police car you will move. You will move that police car 1 space along the dotted path that it has. Okay, so the B car goes this way, C car comes down this way, A car comes down this way. They all end their tracks here. If we ever surround the park with all 3 cars, that's the end of the game, folks. We lost. This guy here refers to keys. The keys agent here will always go 1 space towards ET per symbol. Okay, so if it was 2 keys on there, you'd move them 2 spaces. Okay, the symbols are the same for all 3 dice. It's just they're configured differently. And the other side is blank. Alright, so we got 2 symbols for keys, and then 1 symbol for each of the cars, and a blank side on that one. This guy here is for the other agents, basically. Anytime you see this agent, this symbol, you will move the agents. You will move them 1 space for each symbol. So a red guy here would move 1 space, moving closest to the players. Okay, keys goes towards ET. The other agents goes towards the players. Okay, this one, if we had 2 symbols, we move them 2 spaces. This symbol here means we move all of the agents, including keys, 1 space closer towards the player, the active player. We have a blank side, and then we have a ×2 side, which means we would multiply the movement by 2. So A would move twice. 1, 2. For B would move twice. If it were keys, he would move twice. 1, 2. To the closest active player. Or ET, depending on who it is. So that's the enemy dice. But we kept talking about this danger dice. It's the same thing. This, you would move all 3 of the cars. Here you would move the agents 1 space. The agent that corresponds to the player color. Okay, so if it's just 1 single sign or 2, you would move the color of that player 1 or 2 spaces. If it were Key, you'd move them 2 spaces closer to ET. If it's this guy, you move all of them to the current player, going the closest path you can, the fastest path you can, basically. Okay, and then we got a blank. All right, so that's the danger die. You will roll this anytime you are in a spot with another character, figure, ET, police, agents, or another player. You will roll this die. Anytime you pick up a item or a device in a zone that is adjacent to an agent or a police car, you will roll the danger die. Now, anytime an agent lands on the same space as either a player or ET, then that player would lose a number of health points for ET, depending on how many figures are there. Okay, so if you're by yourself and you get captured, the player would simply lose 1 point, and then we would send them back here to the home space, dropping any tokens that they had beforehand. If they were teamed up with another player, they would lose 2 points of health, and each player would have to drop their items on the spot they are, return to home. If ET were with them, they would have to drop ET, any items they had with them, go home, and they would lose 1 point for each of them and 1 point for ET. Okay, anytime you get captured, it's the number of figures you have in that spot you would lose that many points for. Okay, now if the children are captured, you drop their gear, they go home, they drop ET if he has them. It doesn't matter if it's the color of the active player's agent or any agent color, as long as an agent stops them during this phase, they will do that. They will lose points and drop all their gear and ET. Now, if ET were to be captured by an agent, you would move Keys to the space where ET is, if he is not already there, and then you would remove a point for health on ET. Okay, and then later on, you would want to move ET away, because if you don't, and Keys stays with him, ET will lose another point if Keys goes to move. So now, again, you are not captured if you are on the same spot with an agent if you start your turn there, or if you're moving and you're going through them, or you end your movement on them but not your turn. But if you do move into a spot with them and your turn is over, you would have to roll the die, and then you most likely get captured because they would move. Or if they would move in general from another die roll, you would get captured. All right, you do not get captured immediately when you are on a spot with Keys or any of the agents. Okay, and this will continue until either you get the mothership in this space here in the center of the park, field, whatever I call it, and ET is in an adjacent spot to the mothership, meaning one of these 4 spots here, you would win the game. Okay, if the 3 police vehicles ever surround the field, you would lose the game. And if ET ever got down to 0 health, you would lose the game. And that is it. That is how you play E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial, light years from home. Man, why all these names? Why such long names? Stay tuned for the gameplay. Alright, so we're playing E.T. Opposite of the game. Let's get that ship down here with E.T. in it. Okay. Gertie will be first. On our turn, we will do 3 basic actions up to 3 times, and we can also do some free actions. Then we will phone home if we can, and then we will roll for the enemy. So Gertie's first. Her free action, her special ability here is she can pick up a tile without having to roll a danger die for a police or a agent near this section she's going to pick up. She picks up this wild card. That's her first basic action she took. Now she's going to pick up ET for a free action. Then she's going to join with the rest of the gang here for another free action. Now she can use other players' special actions too, because they're teamed up together. And she will move. So if we look around the board, there's spots. We would have to move to an adjacent spot or use a shortcut to get to another spot. So this, we're going to do one. We're going to use Michael's ability, which will let him go through shortcuts for free. So we got 2 more movement points. 1, 2. Okay, so as her second action, she picked up a tile and moved. Her third action, you know what, she's going to trade off with Michael's. Or no, before she does, she's going to use a special ability for E.T., a special power card, Welcome to Earth, which gives us 3 tokens. 3 candy tokens. Okay, then she's going to trade E.T. off to Michael and break off from the group. That is still a free action, and for her final action she's going to move again. So she's going to get away from these guys and go 1, 2 over here. Can't phone home. Re-roll the enemy dice, and the B card moves 1 space and the purple agent moves 1 space closer to her. We'll go this way. Goes over to Michael. Now Michael's joined with all these guys, so he is going to, let me see, he's going to grab this one first. Yellow. Let's see, Trick or Treat we could use to skip the move. Enemies this turn. I think we're going to hold off for that. And then we could take flight, go anywhere. So maybe we'll use that one. Alright, so this was his first action. His second action is going to grab this one. Alright, he's going to use a free action and move E.T. over to Elliot. He's also going to trade this green tile with Elliot. And then he's going to move away, disconnecting for free. So going to go 1, 2, and then he's going to use his special ability to go 3. Alright, still can't roll home. Roll for the enemy. So the blue one moves twice. 1, 2. Towards Michael. Remember, agents can't use the trail, the shortcuts, only the kids can. That's the end of Michael. It goes over to Elliot. See, Elliot is going to flip this guy over. Get the blue hanger, which he will trade with Greg. He's going to leave Craig where he is, giving him ET. Okay, then he's going to move 1, 2. That's his second action. His third action is going to pick this guy up here for yellow. Doesn't help him, but he will place this one here for a free action. That is all his actions. Still can't phone home. Let's see what the enemy do. So Keys moves twice towards E.T. Alright, he goes over to Craig. Craig will take this. It's got a wild. Being that it was adjacent to the card, he's got a roll. So shields. His comes towards him twice. 1, 2. Would be nice if we could get the blue one. Alright, so what he's going to do is going to use this one, Take Flight, which will move him anywhere on the board. So he'll go over here. For now, flip this guy over. Still can't roll for home. We're going to roll the enemy dice. So Keys would move 1 towards him, and so would she. Goes back to Gertie. So Gertie's here with the blue. Let me see. She's going to pick this tile up using her ability. It's a blue, and she's going to drop it off right away. So that's 1 action. Her second action is she's going to move up here. You know what? She'll go up here. Her third action is to draw this blue one. Placing it there. Still can't phone home. Roll for enemy. So the C card moves twice. 1, 2. Remember, If all 3 cars surround the park, we lose the game. If health goes down to 0, we lose the game. Why we win the game is we get this ship and this little ugly guy down here. Okay? Alright, so not necessarily here, but in this area. Alright, so that was Gertie. Goes over to Michael. Michael will pick this tile up here. It's green one. Alright, so next he will move. 1, 2. Pick this one up. Wait. Before he does that, he's going to drop this one off. And then he's going to pick one up for his 3rd and final action. And drop that one off for a free action. Alright, he moved. Dropped one off. Oh no, wait. Oh no, he picked one up, dropped one off. Okay. Now we roll for the enemy because we still can't phone home. So C car moves 2 more times. Or 1 more time, rather. And the blue one comes 2 steps closer to Michael. He goes over to Elliot. Alright, he'll move 1, 2, and then he will pick this up to Wild. We'll place it in here, but being that it's adjacent to an agent, he has to roll, and this is all of the cars moved. Whoops. He should be here. Moves 1 spot. I wasn't following the pace on that one. Instead of putting him here, he should have been here, and then I move 1. Okay. So that's his first action, was to move and pick up. It was his first 2 actions. He could drop this wild card. We got 3 of them. Yeah, you know what? That's what I'll do. Let's drop the wild card. Alright. So that's his 3rd action. Still can't phone home. We roll for the enemies. And the C car moves again. Ooh. Over to Greg. Craig is going to... Let's see if he's going to do anything before he does... he drops off ET there. Alright, he could do 2 extra basic actions, but he has to keep ET with him. Or he could trick or treat, stop the move of enemies this phase. It's going to go 1, 2, and then 1. Hook up with Gertie. Swap tiles with her. Continue to move. So that's 2. It's going to drop these guys off. That's 3. ET is going to make the device. I'm sorry, that's not 3. He's still on free actions. It's free, not 3. ET makes the device because he's in an adjacent spot with all 4 tiles in this case. We need 4 for the regular game, 3 for an easy game, 5 for the hard game. Drops off the tiles. Makes the device. Craig is now going to drop off ET. And then for his 3rd action, he's going to move. He's going to try and get over here. Let's see how he's going to do this stuff. There we go. 1, 2. Let's see. 1, 2. 1, 2, 1. Yeah, that's what he's going to do. He's going to go from here. Come back to this space. Going this way. Not having to roll because of his special ability. Still can't phone home, but we're going to roll for the enemy, so nothing happens twice. Got lucky on that one. Alright. That was Craig. Goes up to Gertie. Gertie has 2 wild cards here. But she wants to drop off here once we get this die here. To this. She'll drop one of these wild tokens off where she is. Then she will grab this one, which is a ramp. And she will place it here. So that's 1 action. 2nd action, she didn't have to roll because of the her ability. 2nd action is to pick up this blue one here, and she will hold on to that. Her 3rd action is she's going to move. So she's going to go 1, 2. Still can't phone home. Going to roll for the enemy. So A moves twice. Ooh, and it hits him. Boom. 1, 2. It's both of them. They drop all of their belongings, and we lose 1 point. Oh no, wait. I did that wrong. He would have stopped here. Gertie dropped all her stuff. Lose 1 point. Because it stopped, it hit a kid. So it would stop here. We'll just leave that there for now. That's the end of Gertie. Goes over to Michael. Let's see what Michael's going to do. Michael's going to go 1, 2. And then he's going to go 1, 2. He's going to grab this yellow one, but he's got to roll because it's adjacent. And moves 1, and he loses it. Boom. All right. So that would all come 1 step closer to Michael. He loses a point of health. And Michael should have dropped this when he was here. Over to Elliot. All right, Michael's going to move. He's going to go 1, 2, picking up ET. Then he's going to come over here, pick this guy up here for his second action. He's going to play the free action for ET using this ouchie, which gives me an additional 2 basic actions, but I got to keep ET with me. Okay, so he's got 3 more actions left. So for another action, he's going to move. Come up the ramp. Then boom, boom. Okay, so now he's got 2 more actions. He's going to move again. He's going to go 1, 2. He's going to drop this. And this one, which will complete the device. He's going to drop ET. He's going to pick up the device, which is his... Oh, wait, I can't. I forgot that card. I had to keep ET with me at the end. So I can't pick up the device. But I can move again. Yeah, I'll move 1, 2. Now being it's the end of my turn and I have ET with me, I must roll this die, which will bring every one of the agents closer to me. Okay, and then can't roll for home, so we gotta roll for this again. So 1, and then every agent will hit me. Boom. ET gets dropped. Elliot goes home. If he had any items they would be lost, they lose 2 points of health because it was Elliot and ET together. Okay, we'll move all these guys. Keys goes on the space with ET. And that is the end of Elliot's turn. Alright, Craig's up. He's going to spend some candy here to move ET. Problem is I can't move him into a space with an enemy, so he's kind of surrounded here. ET is going to move 1 space back. Discard 1 candy. Then we're going to discard 2 more candies. Okay, we're going to move them this way and then this way. I believe he was already there. That device was made. I just forgot to clean it up. I couldn't pick it up with Elliot because ET was with him. Alright, so that was a free action. He's going to move 1, 2. Then he's going to move again. 1, 2. Not having to roll danger die because of his special ability. Then he's going to move again. 1, 2 over here. And drop off this die finally. Alright, we can finally call home. Alright, that's the end of Craig's turn. Now that we have a die, we can finally roll home. We got 1 space, 1 telephone. We can move 1 space on the track there. And now we roll for the C car to move to the end of its track. It would move twice, but it can only go 1 space. So if the B car and the A car get to these spots respectively, we lost the game. Alright, goes up to Gertie. Gertie is here. Gertie is going to hook up with everybody. Let me see. She must get over to ET, pick up the die. Alright, really doesn't matter. Alright, she's gonna go move 3 times. Alright, 1, 2, that's her first action. She's gonna move her second action. For her third action, she's gonna move, but she's gonna drop these guys off here before she moves here. That may not have been a smart idea, but that's all I got. Alright, so we do have a die down here. We can phone home. Well, and we got a point. I mean, we got a telephone so we can move. Okay. Now we roll these dice. So keys moves. Gertie's moves twice, which hits her, bringing her home. And E.T. loses a point. And then keys moves 1 space closer to E.T. Brings us back to Michael. Michael will pick up E.T. Use his power card here. Is he a pig? Which will give us 1 life on E.T. Alright, then he will trade off E.T. to Elliot. Disconnecting from him, picking up the power die. Or the device. So that's his first action, is picking up the device. His second action is the move. They're getting surrounded here. So he's gonna go 1, pick up these for free because they were dropped previously. Whoops. Place them here, but he's got to roll the die for the danger die because he's here. He's going to move through it. Alright, so nothing happens. Then he goes here with his special ability, so it doesn't cost him anything. And then he's going to go here again. So that's all 1 movement in 2 actions. Now he's going to go again. He's going to move again. 1, 2. Okay, so that's Michael. Goes over to Elliot. Elliot has E.T. Elliot, flying kids. Let's see what this one does. Move up to 3 spaces even if you move through or onto enemies. Don't roll the danger die. That is definitely what he's going to use. He's going to play that and move 3 spaces. So, let's see. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's a free action. Next, he is going to come over here, pick this guy up. Oh wait, I gotta get rid of E.T. somewhere. Alright, he's gonna have to get rid of E.T. So he's gonna go 1, 2. We'll drop E.T. off here. Okay, so 1 and then 2. So free. He moved. That's his second action. His third action is he will pick up this green token. Okay, we roll. Nothing happens. And then we roll for the enemies. The C car can't move anymore. That was Elliot. Over to Craig. Alright, Greg is going to move. So he's going to go 1, 2. Swap with Elliot. You know what? You might as well pick up E.T. while he's there. So we'll pick up E.T. and then move, swapping with, connecting with Elliot and then swapping with Elliot. He's going to play skip the enemy phase this round. Okay. So that's 1 action. Then I'll move 1, 2, and then I'll move again. 1, 2. We'll go up the corner. Or actually, he'll go here first, dropping him off, and then go in here. Alright. Want to remember not to play trick or treat. Remember not to roll. All right, we dropped that off. And we don't roll for anything. So that's the end of that. Goes back up to Gertie, who is home. All right, so Gertie is going to move 1, 2. She's going to pick this up. Actually, she could have been here. 2. It don't matter. Gets the green. So that's 2 actions. She doesn't have to roll because of her special ability. Then she'll move again. 1, 2. Okay. Oh, I forgot to roll for home last time. 1. Okay, now we're going to roll for Gertie. Nothing. Alright. So, that's the end of that. Over to Michael. Michael will go 1, 2, and then 1. For 2 actions there. Drops this off. No additional action for a free action. Then he's going to drop this off, which will bring us down 1 point on the track for the mothership. And then he's going to drop the wild off, which will give us 1 point for each die. So 2 points on 2 on the mothership. So that's 2 movements. Alright, his third action, he will pick this up. And then for a free action, he will drop it down, giving him another point. And that's the end of his turn. Now we roll 2. 1, 2. Did quite damage on that one, didn't we? And this changes how we're going to play this game. Alright, so now we roll for the enemy. And we got the C cards. Can't move time twice. So we're good on that. So Elliot's up. All we have to do is get ET here. And then hopefully we can roll enough to get him home. Alright, Elliot's going to move 1, 2. And then he's going to move again. Or no, wait. He's going to spend a free. He's going to spend a free action for the candy, bringing ET to Elliot. And he's going to pick him up. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to play the Quiet Man, which allows me to flip all the tiles around me. This one will have to get placed right away. I think, because it's... Yeah, I'm going to say this. Alright. I'm going to place that here. Alright. And I don't have to roll for the danger die because of that card. Okay, so that was 1 action. He moved, and then he picked up ET and flipped a bunch of stuff. Second action. He's going to pick. He's not adjacent to it yet. Alright, he's going to move. 1, 2. His third action is to pick this up, and then he's going to drop it down. Okay, moving 2 because we have 2 dice there. And we just won the game. Alright, so let's finish it out though. So that was all 3 of his actions. He's got to roll because he's in his action. He's in his turn with ET. So Keys moves twice. 1, 2. We roll for home. And we're done. Actually, I don't think we had to go through that. He was already there. We would have won. The mothership is in the spot in the park, and ET is in an adjacent spot. So that was ET with the extremely long name. Stay tuned for what me thinks. Alright, it's me thinks time for ET, the Extra-Terrestrial, Light Years from Home. Very long title. Why do they keep doing this? I understand ET's probably got 100 games with its name on it, but all of that, really? So I remember ET from my youth vaguely. I think it was made in 82, so I would have been like 4, maybe 5. It was no later than 84, so 6, 7 at the latest. I do actually remember what it, plush pillows with that ugly mug on it. He is a creepy little guy, isn't he? In my opinion, yeah. But regardless, E.T. is a great movie. I suggest you watch it. The game, I think, implemented the IP very well. It's you know, you got the agents chasing the kids. The kids try to get E.T. home. The game it does feel like you're playing ET. You're trying to get him home. You can jump over stuff like that with the special abilities of ET. And you know, ET's getting sicker. You know, the more you get caught, the sicker he gets, as it was in the movie. I don't know how I feel about this game yet. I'm not sure if I really like pick up and deliver games. I played a few. I played this one. I have Jungle Cruise that up there. I play Heartland Hong Company. That was probably my favorite. And I know I played others. I just can't remember what they are right now. I'm not sure. It might just be this game. I'll get back to that. All right. So I like the tension in the game for the most part. I don't know how I feel about this mothership track thing. That's the biggest thing with the game. I don't know how I feel about it. I understand it's tension, but I'll get into how I feel about that in a couple minutes. The gameplay itself is tight. There's a lot of tension with the agents or the cops moving in, closing in on you. There's tension with the cops reaching down here. You know, it's also trigger the end of a game. Same thing with the health if the agents catch you enough. This guy here is a pain in the ass. Pretty much you got to stay away from other people or you got to roll the die if you pick up an item near an agent or a cop car. You got to roll the die. If you jump over the agents or land in the spot with the agents, you got to roll the die. A lot of die rolling in this, dice rolling in this, which normally doesn't bother me. I really don't care about it. Arkham Horror is one of my favorite games. Second edition. We're not going to mention the last one. But there is a lot of dice rolling in this, and that's kind of what I'm up in the air with. Especially these device dice with the mothership track. That the first time I played the game, I played it wrong, as I usually do. I forgot that once you made a device, and if you had extra tokens of that color, you could get a point for each token that you have extra. That I did remember. The wild card, however, the wild colors, I forgot that you get a point for each die, not for each token. And that's basically what I think saves this game. Because without that, if you don't use that extra movement with the extra colors, if you're just relying on this dice, it's very tough to game. It's tough to begin with, but it made it extremely tough with that. Again, without these, it's going to be really tough. I've only played this 2 players, and I've only played it at their normal difficulty. At the hard difficulty, you got to remember you're using all 5 of the colors for each of the devices, so you're only stuck with 4 of these wild cards. It seems like you're running around a lot, and you're relying on this to try and move it down. The first couple rounds, maybe the first 3 or 4, you're not going to get any dice in there, so you're just moving around trying to collect things to build these dice. And once you get them and you roll the dice, it's like, there's a 1 in 3 chance you're going to roll. Most of the time, you're not going to roll a phone home. Great, I understand they mitigate that with the tokens, but even still, yeah, it's I don't know how I feel about that. The dice. Other than that, the game I do like I said, it incorporates the theme well. It is very tight, a lot of tension. Um, uh, there are parts you're just running around like Scooby Doo and trying to get away from cops. But it's that there's a lot of puzzly stuff in there. Do I sacrifice the whole turn of one player to move him across the board to try and draw everybody towards him away from everything else? Stuff like that. There's a whole puzzle of how am I going to get these items to the devices and get ET to the device to build a device. Am I going to drop off a couple items here and then next player does the same thing, but back and forth, who takes ET? Because even though he helps you out with his special abilities, which help quite a bit, the power cards rather, it's dangerous to carry him. It's dangerous to team up with other people too, even though you can use their special abilities. So you got to decide the risk management on that. These power cards, I do like them. There's one that boosts up the health of ET. The rest of them are pretty much you can move somewhere on the board without consequences, or you could move the agents, or the agents don't move, stuff like that. Or you get candy. The special abilities are cool. They're fitting. Each one, Elliot's gonna have ET come to him, move more for him because they're closer in the movie, obviously. Gertie's, sneaky. She could pick stuff up without the cops seeing her. Same with Craig. He can move without, the cops seeing him. And Mike's the other one, so he knows the neighborhood better. He would know the shortcuts. I do like them. They're unique to each character. Gives a little bit of flavor. This is, for the most part, it is a pretty basic, cooperative pick up and deliver game. A little convoluted. It's a little convoluted with ET. You gotta get the items to the space and make sure ET's there, and then you gotta move to them to the forest. So like I said, I don't know how I feel about it. The gameplay's tight. I've only played it with 2 players, like I said. Most of the time it's been me using multiple characters. I have played with Jen twice, I think, and I believe both times she used multiple characters. I played it by myself with just 2 characters, and it is a lot tougher with just 2 players. Just because you don't have the freedom to move as much. You can only carry so much, so many items. You can only pass ET around so many times, stuff like that. It's easier to do it with 4 players. You just get spread out across the board more, as in most of these co-op games like that. So I don't know how it would play at the full count with different players. I can kind of, see that in my head. I played enough of these games to kind of see how it go. Although other players will bring things that would surprise you. You just wouldn't know it would happen. The time says 30 minutes for a 2-player game. Yeah, probably. If both players know it. This could end in 5-10 minutes though too. Like, it just depends on how fast you get hit with ET's health. If an agent comes into a spot with 4 players there, that's 4 points knocked off. If ET's there, it's 5 points. If that happens in the first round, you're in trouble. There's, like I said, there's only that one card that'll boost your energy back up, so you only got to get hit twice more and you're done. So that could happen in 2-3 rounds, or it could last longer, depending, how much, like I said, you Scooby-Doo around the agents. And as long as all 3 of these cards don't get down here, and a lot of that depends on the die roll. like I said, this would drive people who don't like chains nuts, this game. I can see it frustrating some people. For the most part, I think I like it. I'm not 100% sure, though. It's like kind of in the middle. The components are nice. I understand why they went with standees on one side and plastic on the other. Just helps to identify each, first off, and it would just clutter up the board too much. It's everything, especially with these cars that were plastic. I do like that. You know, you can put ET or the dice in the baskets. You know, they incorporate that. That is part of the movie. You know, Elliot jumping across the moon with ET in the basket. If you know what this is, if you're younger, you would probably have no idea what ET is. But if you're older, there's a lot of nostalgia in the game. I do like the components. The rule book is it's not perfect. There's a couple of vague things. I can't remember exactly what they were, but for the most part, it is a really good rule book. I do like that they have a player index on the back, but I wish they put that extra item thing in there, the extra color items, and the wild cards there for the devices. It's not listed on the back. That's probably why I didn't remember the first time. I played it, read through the rulebook, then was going off of this, you know, throughout. They also gave a card, which I didn't put out during setup, with a player order and, you know, what the dice symbols means on the back of that card. The insert, it's an insert. It fits what it's in there now. Yeah. And even like the Reese's Pieces, I think that movie's the first time I seen Reese's Pieces. I'm not sure. Like I said, I was young when it came out, and I didn't see it in the theater. I seen it on TV with commercials back then, you know. So that's probably the first time I seen Reese's Pieces. And chocolate and peanut butter is one of my favorite candies. So I do like the artwork. You know, it integrates the Reese's Pieces, you know, the theme of the game. Also, like, they're kids, so they're grabbing stuff around the house to make the voices. And E.T. needs to be there to make the voice because he's the only one out of this stuff. It's also, you know, the ramp. Everything, you know, thematically, everything fits really well, I think. Yeah, I do like it. There's a lot of tension, a lot of puzzle-y in it. I think, you know, like I said, this mothership with these dice, I don't know. You know, you could sit there. I've rolled all three of them over and over and over again and not got anything. That mothership sat up there for half the game, you know, after I started rolling, and it just sat there because you never roll it. You know, and then even getting these out, you know, there's only so many times you can move it, depending on the combination of how you use them. You know, what's there, the cards, the colors, how many. You can only move it down so much. Yeah, but like I said, I'm on the fence. I'm going to play it one more time with Jen, see if she likes it. She couldn't remember. We played this a while ago, and then I shelved it. I came back. I did play with all the right rules with her, but she couldn't remember playing the game. It's not because of the game. It's just we've played so many. She's played so many. She just tends to forget. So do I, actually. But overall, I think it's a good game. I just don't know if it's a game for me. Like I said, I'll play it again with Jen and figure that out. But if it is something you would like to pick up or check out, it is listed on the BGG, and it is available, I'm sure. I don't know, maybe not. It's Funko. But that's it for now. Get gaming, have fun. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Get me out!